Hello and welcome as it is now the 11th day of November 2021. My name is Derek and this is the Money Charts channel. And within the title of this, my outrageous Flippin predictions. Flippin's most certainly a different word that I suppose would be censored. However, let's go through this. All bets trades amongst the like. Yeah, each his own risk to their own reward. Higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, bull market, all that kind of stuff. What an uptrend this was, as we see through pretty much all of 2020, 2021, from the COVID lows at around 4 grand, 5, 6 grand even, whatever. And then consolidating here for a decent amount of time around the 10 number. Retesting, well, a little higher at 11, back to 10. And yeah, from October of last year, a little over a year ago, to April of this year. Just a phenomenal run. And then there's your retracement lows. Make this high lower than the previous one. But what's important is higher low to here. Well, most certainly easy that. Break this established resistance and then previous high test. And now it's just hanging in there to this, but more clearly. Breakout above the 18 average of highs on the 8th day of November, which is then followed with a pause day. And then the Wednesday session coming back 18 high. Ooh, baby, if it, and I think it will, breaks out from here, gets above the highs. The situation analysis for this move could be quite interesting to say the least. So all this consolidation here. Bitcoin always around 50 something thousand, and then yeah, down to 30 something. Well, now it's breaking that 50. Of course, it's at 64 change now as of this, and low volatility. This whole grinding thing, this little bit that it's doing here, it's so, to me, seems super duper strong. This is poised for a significant breakout. To me, I'm going to have to really go on with what I think was going to be the case in a situation of Bitcoin breaking above 20,000, most likely going, which it obviously is way back when, going to, and well, not 60. I mean, that was a conservative level and it's already hit it, but that was a, yes, small hit there, a little bit of correction. I like how it's leaving above the 18 highs on the monthly term. Exitation, word as I came up with on this channel. Yeah, 6 figures. 125, 130-ish. Hey, you know, maybe gets to the quarter, but yeah, pretty big. At least a 2x from here is what I think a Flippin price point is going to reach. Now the Bitcoin dominance, which I think is going to go lower and make a serious run at a much lower number. And who knows how low when I get into Bitcoin predictions moving forward. I'll get back to the Bitcoin chart after this. The dominance. This is the approximate percentage of the market cap, which is Bitcoin, compared to all the other ones out there. And way back when, I mean, it's all Bitcoin. This is way back when, 2015, 16, and 17. And then, wow, what a move. Now we're like half the value of the crypto market at this point is Bitcoin, and falls all the way down to like 35. Rallies a few times from like breaking from summer of 2019 all the way to, well, January of this year. Up to the 70% mark. And then, as we can see, breaking down in this April month, pretty much getting close to, but not quite testing the previous low. It looks like if there's going to be some sort of move, an interesting, but yeah, whatever scenario is, we have a move that would pierce below at something like the 31, 32. Maybe we can make a lower high rally up to 41 or something, and then it has an interesting another leg lower, and then Well, then we'll get to that situation we're going to talk about with Bitcoin getting to basically 125, 200 in that area. And continuing this on other time frames, weekly term. There's a failed breakout, of course, here right around Christmas of last year. And it's been just going down, 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 down. So now you have a situation in here where this rally here matching the area of 3 hit levels. Hit 1, hit 2, and hit 3. Okay, it didn't break it yet, but that's fine if on the upside. And we've had this low here, this low here. Huge test. Because breaking the 18 lows means your next design target is a retest of these lows. Breaking the subside target, retest of this previous high. You're in the range, and then when you break the range, okay, maybe you can test up in here somewhere. And then you break to the range to the low side. Now you're talking about net low side, downside targets, basically, if that's the case. And I think that most certainly will be the situation within Bitcoin. Just meta with whatever here on the hourly time frame. Let's go back to Bitcoin. And this is a market that's just been on an amazing run through its pretty much entire life. Yeah, way back when, $4 a Bitcoin, now 64,000. Last time I ever bought Bitcoin with dollars would have been back in right 2017. Right in here. It's the last time I bought it. And I haven't needed to because, I mean, wow, on the portfolio, it's up like over 60 times since the last time I've needed to buy it. But with that being said, we have a situation, I think, where what Cliff High has been saying as far as a rush to get into cryptocurrencies and precious metals to be a thing. So somewhere up here is now, I feel, and who knows, maybe this goes to 400,000, a million, and then that's where the top is, and then what I talk about could happen. But I'm going to be very pessimistic about Bitcoin's future moving forward. I was pretty satisfied when I made a Bitcoin transaction today, only to pay a couple dollars in fees. I'll be very, very curious to see how much the fees come in at with price points of Bitcoin, and nice little rallies, 130,000, 160,000 price, and so on and so forth. That would be very, very interesting. And then I think we're going to have, maybe not down that far, a serious X retracement. 2 times, much higher than that. 4 times at least, I think. 5, 6, 7, who knows? Big move down. But will Bitcoin survive in the end? Then you got the situation of how much it costs, just in energy for this. I'm not too sure. So I'm going to make sure, of course, during this run-up, that I will make sure that if there's any move going lower, that I'm going to be like, okay, well, at least I profit took what I could. I turned it into what? Of course, we'll be talking about gold and silver later on very soon. Now, that's part of the strategy. Now, what about the other altcoins, as I mentioned, with the Bitcoin dominance, that I do expect that to continue going lower, which means other coins on average should overperform the Bitcoin. So here I'm talking about Bitcoin doubling, even doubling to tripling from here on forward, which means other coins is much, much better than that. 4, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, who knows, large X moves amongst other coins. Theta is $7.20. If it does 100x, that'd be $7.20. And way back, even before this is even early 2018, when Tether was just a baby, Miss White Dove was mentioning, yeah, this is going to go to 1,000. It's going to take some time, though. Well, it's November of 2021, or over 3.5 years since that point. I'm not going to say that's where it goes in the next several months. but it wouldn't surprise me if it does have spectacular gains, and there are cryptos that will overperform the dollar by a near 100x, as Bitcoin is doing a 2 to 3x move. And another coin I'm a fan of is Hedera Hashgraph, and I like its move on the monthly term right now. And it's doing good today right now on the daily, looking like it's breaking out. It looks good chances here. I like how the 18 is like a nice little consistently rising, albeit barely still in the daily, so it's making several like amounts, like not always, but higher lows and matching, and lows and higher highs matching highs type thing. Yeah, a few lower lows and a few lower highs here and there. But I also like you have a situation here on November the 8th, how it breaks out. We have this day on on Wednesday, where we establish, or not, we retest rather, this October 30th and 31st high. We support the 18 lows and a higher low. And here we are already rallying pretty close to the previous day's high, where we can see just an interesting move on the hourly time frame. Now, as far as my history is concerned, I went to college for the first time in 1994. And I've always been one that enjoyed gambling, and then the concept of advantage gambling is something I got a grasp at when I was probably 11 years old. So it came to me as a child, but it's something I've always wanted to do. And then I started, of course, into sports betting, getting into poker, transitioning into market trading, and so on and so forth. And in the market trading strategies, one of my favorite teachers, and the reason basically what I'm doing now is what he's doing and did more so back then, doing videos every day on the markets back in 2007 and 2008 when I was learning. Brian Shannon from alphatrends.net. And one of the things he'd often say, oftentimes from failed moves can create a fast move in the opposite direction. I mean, this is just wild, crazy shit here, basically, in the sense of you got this low and you got this high. And what a move to get there for. You have run up here, awesome move. Correct it well, retest the lower high, matching the higher low. There's a break of resistance here. Retest of this. All of this is a higher low to this, and then you microscopically break a higher low, or higher barely a higher high, barely a higher low. All these barely higher highs, all these barely higher lows in here. Just a nice little move from point A to point B or whatever. Key low to key high. That's all the moves. And then you give it like all back in one shot. Well, it's already given all the losses back pretty much, because this move here, retest this. This is just crazy. So oftentimes, a failed move in one direction can cause an extremely fast move in the opposite. And this thing looks like it just might be ready to go off. I wonder if I could teach some fib upside here. How do we calculate? When you look at it from this point of view, though, it's not as big from here. It's still pretty. Oh, this is just 1 killer range. I mean, upside target is previous high on here. You got this. I mean, you might get a little bit of shorter term resistance at 50, which is like a 15% push. But I gotta think next target breaking this is previous high, which is 55 cents on the 4 hour. And when we look at it from this point of view, yeah, all of these hits, 1, 2, 3, and then a little bit of decline. Well, not quite, maybe, but a fourth test. And then this pattern of higher highs and lower lows. There's the bottom. The highs and lows known after the fact. Another thing Brian Shannon was teaching. How do you know they're known after the fact? Well, as far as when you're in the situation, well, at some point in here, you just got to make the situational test. Okay, it's riding the 18 average. No matter what this high is going to be, it's going to be at least, we're going to be able to talk about key high, key low, to whatever this key happens to be, highs and lows known after the fact. Well, Heck, well, this was a high. We know this now because we've already made this low. So we made this high, made this low. And we made this low well above this one. You expect after key, okay, first of all, you expect after key low to key high, they're at least going to make a higher low. Bullishly or bearishly. Well, there's your higher low. Then you have a good move from here to here. So you expect not as good of a chance as before, but you're still going to make a higher low to here. There's your higher low. Now, they're low after the fact. You could do like a little blah, 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 moving up stuff like that in a bull play, but that's rare. So as it goes, because of this low and how it's reacted within the 18 cents, well, the entire run, you can see just going down in here from October, supporting the lows, supporting the high, resisting the highs, supporting lows, getting above it, but really resisting the highs again, supporting the lows. Very much a nice failed breakout attempt. Not really much of a fast move going lower though. Higher low to the 18 lows again. Now we can see we're on what? Look, from stamp November 8th. So we're on period 4 cents. It's riding the 18 average of highs now. And with the move that's brought back, this really looks to me as if this is poised for a fantastic, fantastic break above here. Oh, Fibonacci is easy. This is, okay, maybe not quite as easy. Oh, boy. The two ways I'm thinking about it, from this low to this high, I want to know what a 61.8 is, somewhere around here. So this number divided by this number to the root of 1.618, multiply this number again. Or, and I think this or might be better, what we're going to do is we're going to take this low and this high. Again, find the 61.8. This should be where the 161 is, and then we just find the 261. And that's what I'm going to do. So let's use a spreadsheet for it because it'll be easier. This is pretty much a penny. .009, I think we'll go. Let me just see what the exact low is. And this is how I do it, and I can just see it looks like this period here. So last day of that year of 2019, 0091. And then I want to calculate it to this high. So let me get my spreadsheet ready. And we'll start off by putting the low in. And this font size is too small for me. Okay. So let me just now find out the high. And again, I want to use this high and then calculate the upside on this because it looks like we've already done one upside target, which means if we pass that, we go to level 2. It's like a video game. So let's find out what this exact high was, which is on this period here on February the 13th or day after, whatever, before. So we got the slot machine number of 3 sevens here, 830 here though. So 8.3 cents, or excuse me, yeah, 8.3 cents was the high. So what I want to do is I want to calculate, we'll find out what the difference of the two two numbers are. So high divided by low, which will be somewhere near 9.12. And then I want to take it to the root. So let me just find my equals button. Here we are, equals this to the exponent. That's shift, nope, that's shift 6. I need not 7. 0.382. And then I want to multiply the low of this number, which gives me 0.002. So now what I would take is I would take the high divided by that calculated number to the square root of 1.618, multiply that by this low here, and that would give me the first upside target of about 90 cents. So we go back to the charts. Well, I guess that would be our next target level then. I mean, we still haven't hit it yet. So, I mean, this might be, yeah, so 90 cents would be one area where I would go to. But well, if it beats that, what would be its next upside target? And to me, that would just calculate the, with the 2.618. So I can just go ahead and change this 1 to a 2. And it might have the potential to get to about a 50, with a piercing extra, $50 coin. And at this stage, that would be like a 100x thing. But, you know, that's just doing whatever yada yada mathematics. Sometimes that stuff hits, sometimes it doesn't. If it hits, you know, maybe it's whatever. It's a fluke. Stuff like that happens, I suppose. And if it doesn't, you know, it doesn't. Okay. So then, why do I think there's going to be a decent fall afterwards? My spidey senses and everything, and maybe I'm watching a little too much of the JSnip4 channel, but it really doesn't make a lot of sense with what he's talking about, is that of the Tether. If you get bored sometime, you go to coinmarketcap.com or any other site that will give you the information of market cap for each coin, and go ahead and take a look at the market cap of the Tether, which is a very easy number to understand and such. Whatever that number is how many of those dollars that they have. In fungibility, it's supposed to work out that one United States dollar Tether is the same in value as one United States dollar. And you would think that, hey, you know what, I have maybe a few $100 million. I want to put it up on in a little vault, and I want to have my own little Tether. It's all backed and it's all great. Okay. You ask me how much of that they have do you think is backed? And when they get that, what do you think they do with a lot of these Tethers? Buy these coins like Bitcoin to Ethereum to Cardano to you list all of them. Not only the top 100, but even the others. All the other shit coins, like in the 2, 4, 500 rank coins, all of them. And they just buy with it. And then they'd be sell. Later on, when the shit hits the fan, amongst the fact that a lot of what might be going on in the Tetherland community just might be a little bit fraudulent. Let's move on now to precious metals. It's been a long video so far, but I don't do them as much often. Do these videos as much, that is. And talk about being stuck in this range. And it hasn't even tested this Fibonacci level of 2028. Not even close. I mean, many times close to not being close, I should be stating, because there's your low here, major pierce higher, major pierce higher, major pierce higher. Usually they pierce extra. I'm just saying. And maybe it still will. I mean, it would take a whole damn long time to do it if it does. And the whole thing's been a long damn time. And until it really does break below this, I mean, it's still the area of support. And if it does, then yeah, maybe we hit there. And then we still haven't been there in a long time. A long time is back to the start or the end of the spring. 28 and change. Right now, it's at 24 and change. This thing is going to go sky high fly, I think, very, very soon. For we are seeing, I think, a lot of those hyperinflationary signs already in play, I think. As far as prices on you name it kind of deal. It's all expensive. It's getting cheap, more expensive, and it's cheap still to buy that of gold and silver. I think that we're just, poised for what would be a fantastic move. Now again, weekly time frame, just stuck in this range. There's your failed breakdown, your fast move higher. Talked about that at the start before with that H bar, fast move lower. I mean, that almost looks exactly what H bar looks like on the hourly. We're like right here on H bar, so I'm just saying. But Failed breakdown, fast move higher. And it resists the key Fibonacci level. And it's comes down, just stays in the 18 here. Every time it goes below it, not for long, doesn't even attempt to get above the 18 average of highs until Christmas of 2020. And then as it attempts to do such, barely gets above it, back in the band. Barely gets above it, back in the band. And then it spends a long time in the band, barely getting below it at one point. And then trying and failed breakout for sure in here. And then it makes a series of lower highs and lower lows, but only to where we came from in this previous level of support. And then as it comes into this correctionary mode, interesting to say the least, in that comes up to the highs, it's been corrected for 2 weeks, and it looks like it's trying to exit it. An attempt to do so. It's been a significant period move lower, and it's been a decent amount of time. You had all this empty space in here that there'd be a couple of layers of resistance, one probably around 26, and then again at previous high about 28.58. And then we can start talking about hitting the 35, breaking that to 50, breaking that to about 125 or so, 130 I got around here. And these are just numbers that I've had for years in my head and that I've calculated before, just like the Bitcoin 125 to 250 level. And then one of the years and years and years and years and years and years and years ago, I was even talking about $1,000 silver. But I now today think, wow, that's just so inaccurate. It's going to be over 10, at least. Because maybe I'm being a little bit, and I don't know, insert word, I don't know what word to use. Egotistical. Probably egotistical. But I truly do believe that the gold to silver ratio, albeit maybe just for a few hours, would be pretty darn near close to par within gold. How much will gold be if something like that were to occur? Another way of putting it is, let's put the gold to silver ratio up right now. Yeah, it's 75 to 1. And it's got down to 30 way back when we had the $50 previous high. Now, what would the price of silver and gold be if we retested 30? Okay, how about key number 16? You can't see it on here. And it's been a long time since it's been there. Around 1980. It got down to 6. I think it got down to like 10 to 1, 11 to 1 actually. 13 to 1. Let's do 850 divided by 52 or so. Because I think those were the two highs at that time frame. But what would the price of gold be and silver be at that point? And then at 10 to 1, 5 to 1, 1 to 1. Meaning silver making it to, we'll say 100, would be, of course, like a 4x move. We almost have to think at that stage gold would be, you got to think close to doubling. So that brings gold to like 3,000 and something. Okay. So if silver has a 10x move to 1,000 from 100, what's gold going to do from 3,000? Get to like over 10 at least, yeah. Which is why I believe silver is going to go well north of $10,000 US. I also believe in a thing called the final price. A final price is when do you no longer give a shit about that item and that price point? Meaning, yeah, gold and silver is awesome, but the dollar? We back in the day, like 2008 and 2020 and 2026 or whatever, I did care. But here in 2032 or whatever future year we're talking about, it's all about silver against this and gold against this, and so on and so forth. As it just basically, if something like a currency mortality happens, then it happens. And then gold and silver keeps living, and then it trades against other things, yada yada. Maybe it's Bitcoin, maybe it's not. And then do we have a world where, again, I don't know what's going to happen with Bitcoin moving to like these major monster moves. Will we have a situation where Bitcoin pretty much keeps dwindling down and loses value, where some of these other cryptocurrencies just kick ass? Is there going to be like winners and losers, like a battle, if you will, battleground, if you will? Hey, that's definitely something worth considering. But for me, I'm just making sure that insane market prices, that you just have to make sure that you diversify portfolio. You can have people making like 50, 100, 200, 400x gains in portfolio. You could have started with like, you know what, you're just fooling around, joking, whatever, a bit of cash here and there. And then just even hodling it, and then even more, maybe doing more day trading it one way or another. And you're like, holy shit, this is worth like this and that. Man, you guys got to protect. It's probably a good idea to protect some of it. And like, well, if it goes down, I mean, if I buy this, like whatever, gold, silver, maybe you pay off this debt, buy this vehicle, buy this house, buy this, secure that. Then you realize that if the game keeps going good, hey, at least you got the bag still of cryptocurrencies, if that's still the case, because it's not about 100% distribution. If that's the play, that's the play, of course. But if you're at another stage, well, hey, I mean, yeah, I bought, like, say I cashed out, say, X amount, and then the market kept going up, and I could have gotten more, but I'm happy with what I got both ways, meaning what I turned into gold, silver, turned into other things, what have you. And then I'm happy with what my portfolio looks like from that point on, because I was worth X amount of units when I got into it. And then when I distributed, say, 50% of my bankroll, I was worth 20x. And now I'm worth 40x, if you will. So it's all good kind of deal. Just one way of looking at it. And of course, how you perceive it's all, of course, up to yourself, as it is anyway. Food. Man, this is an interesting one. Yeah, it's whatever you can. I think whatever you can get that can be held and you can store and it can last may not be a bad idea. Just saying that if you have it, it's there. And if something happens where it's hard to get it for a while, then you can go a little bit longer before you run out, if you will. And easier strategy, of course, amongst it. But with billions and billions of people on this planet, and what's looking like a really big food shortage on the horizon, then brings, especially with a lot of situation where people are having difficult time as it is within the current prices. Gas prices pretty much at all-time highs, and it's going to be very, very difficult, I think, for a lot of people. And in the rush to get gold and silver, that's where you can probably notice as investor in the and or of the two. You can start with these increased prices, and you're seeing it right now with cryptos, that, man, all these prices going higher are actually deflationary. In that gas prices, how much are gas prices up over the last 1 year, 2 years, 5 years? How much is the bag of Doritos? How much is the bag of peaches that you buy, or a pound of peaches, or how much you're buying? How much is the broccoli? How much is the potatoes? How much is the meat? How much is the rice? How much is the milk? How much is whatever it is that you're buying compared to 1 year ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago? And how much is your portfolio went up amongst that same time? Okay. And then you get to the point where, okay, so this product has went up 50% or 60%, and I'm already up like 10 times or 20 times from that point. Oh my goodness, it's like 80%, 90% off type feelings can come into play. And that would probably only happen, I think, on the earlier stages of this level of inflation. If you want to know about inflation, I'm probably not the greatest to direct information from, but I'm definitely not the worst either. Currently, Venezuela, Zimbabwe, not the greatest, but yeah, Zimbabwe is pretty interesting. Early 2000s. Of course, the Weimar Germany, Oh, the 19th century, 18 something, Andrew Jackson killed the banks. I think so anyway. Again, my history's not the greatest. I'm actually, I was horrible way back when, but I'm pretty okay at it now. But you get to the stage where early on you start to get to like 20, 30, 40, 50% inflation on the early stages on a lot of year over years. And then when it starts to get to the stage of triple digits year over year, and then soon it's going to be like, you don't, I mean, you're so scared of what inflation will be like week after week because you're noticing like just monster moves at that point. One interesting one is the price of gold and the German price point for after World War II, around the World War II in that time frame. It's just terrible. Uh, so again, a lot of that is probably going to happen again. Now, when it comes to the tangibility of the three, one, the fiat currency, I'll just leave that as it is. I'm not going to comment much on that. It's not that great. And then you have then the tangibility of gold and silver, bullion, and even sterling silver and whatever, 14 karat, 20 karat gold, whatever. It's still okay. It's the tangibility of that. Now the tangibility of cryptocurrencies. And when you think about the tangibility of cryptocurrencies, remember things like private keys, blockchain, block explorers, the whole system, hash. I mean, everything that works, the working system of such, is tangible. And when I've used the example in so many videos about putting something in a safe, and using the hypothetical example, you can put it in the safe, but you cannot open that safe up for 2 years or 5 years or 10 years or something of that number. What would you put in there? For you could put all three of those major examples in between cryptocurrencies. You could put in, of course, the dollar and precious metals. And we could even go as far as saying the other. There's a lot of great memorabilia and just miscellaneous things that have huge market value. And with the way things are, where you can sell things so easily, I mean, it's so tangible. Meaning you can put like, oh, I got a 1950 something whatever is Mickey Mantle card. I think it's 52 tops, in like grade 8 or grade 8 or something. Okay, that's pretty damn valuable. So you put that in a safe. You can put all those paper rectangles, all those 100 bills, 100 numbers on it, and you put a whole bunch of them in a safe. Gold and silver, so obvious, you can put in a safe. And precious metals, I mean, heck, littlest space needed on that one. Well, I guess the Mickey Mantle doesn't take much space either, but the private keys, you can don't take much space at all. But you realize that you protect your private keys correctly. Who's ever going to get access to them? You figure you could put all my gold and silver buried underground, and then someone's got a metal detector. Oh, beep, 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 beep. Is there gold or silver down there? My detector says it's gold or whatever, or still says it's there's silver there. They dig below and they find your some of your stash of gold and silver. Yet, is there a crypto detector that works in the same way? That, oh, if it says 12 words or 20 words together, and it's going to detect that. But if someone happened to see it, they could find those words and try to put it in and see if they can find whatever cryptocurrency is with it and hope for the best. Especially if they say it's for a particular wallet like Bitcoin or Litecoin or Ripple or what have you. And it's just, and that is a serious measure one person can have as far as putting it, but you got to be very, very careful. Even the stupid little things like what kind of sky drones are watching what I'm doing, and then someone's like, hey, he's burying something, like he's doing some sort of buried treasure, and so be very, very careful if you were to do something like that. But if you can cross all X's and L's and really just go through it, hey, it might not be a bad idea. After all, it's a spot where if something happens, there they are. And I mean, fires, of course, is one of the examples and such. And then you can have access to them, and you can maybe you got 7.2 Bitcoin there, or you got like 15,000 of this altcoin there, or whatever. There you have. Okay, so 40 plus minutes. Wow. Yeah, this world is gonna be in that crazy, crazy situation. And this run up higher that we see in the next few months could literally again be Bitcoin 2x and $100 to $1,000 theta as an example. These are just crazy flipping market predictions. And on this next, I mean, gold and silver, those big numbers of like $10,000 silver that I talk about, that's probably going to be several years away. But hitting that 150 and then exploring in the multiple hundreds in the next several months, I do not rule out of that of realistic possibilities, which is much larger than 1%. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.